about the second one? Since they're here, you wanted to call them for anything, you have that option. Does that make sense? This is the third witness that you're going to call, and do I have to also talk to them about?
It's her mother.
So let's bring in his friends. So you're right there. He already talked to you, but since you're here, it's going to take a minute. I'll go through it again. Remember, you're going to answer just the questions that are asked. And I've already ruled that the only incidents of prior violence at this stage that are coming in are only the incident from what the lawyers are calling the pistol whipping incident. I expect you to say something along the lines of came down based on injuries you saw, right? Did you observe, well, is there another incident of argument, Mr. Glass? Or there's no incidents of violence, so there may have been incidents?
Yes, Judge, so...
And she's already testified to that in that position, right? And also the record hearing? I remember from the record hearing.
I don't recall from that position, and I wasn't there for the hearing.
I remember there may be an argument that you observed, after you came down from Texas.
She observed him grabbing her, and yeah, she observed some physical altercations between them.
Other than that, I don't think we expect anything else to come in.
No, just she learned about the pistol whipping incident. She got the picture, she came down, and she observed interactions between Daisy and Pedro. So you just have to be careful not to say what other people told you.
Of course, yeah.
Unless I instruct you, you can, or unless it's pretty clear from the way that the lawyers are asking that they're suggesting that answer. Sometimes they are allowed to do that.
Judge, and I'm sorry, can defense just say when is it that she, because I'm reading her deposition and I didn't see an instance where she mentioned they were scuffling around or something?
I don't remember specifically. I just remember her sitting and observing an argument. That's from my memory of the other.
Correct. So when she was, remember, she gets picked up a couple of hours before the shooting. Prior to that, she observed interactions between Mr. Jimenez and Daisy Lincoln. There were a few times where he physically assaulted her, and she could also observe their interactions and him being told to leave, and she told him to leave, and all that stuff.
Again, Judge, I don't, if the defense can point you to a page and line number of where she testified that to at deposition at an arbiter hearing, that's different standards than at trial, and under her deposition, I do not remember.
No.
Was she asked specifically?
I don't recall if she was even
I do remember asking her specific acts of other violence.
Yes.
I actually went through right here.
And she testified, because I thoroughly read it, as to the prior years, but as to the night of the incident, I do not remember her saying anything about her saying him get into a scuffle or her saying for him to leave. Anything that the defense is just proper, and I have her deposition in my hand right now.
Well, if there's a question where she says that she didn't, then great. But if there isn't a specific question, then I'm not.
Well, then we go to the other one.
Hold on, let's do that.
No, Judge.
Hold on, stop. The reaction can't be what sounds like a nuclear option at this point. Let's just go and see first.
Judge.
If there is a question, as Ms. De Leon is flipping
Judge,
through.
it's not a nuclear option, due respect. It is, if there is certain discovery obligations by defense, there are certain things that they have to put the state on notice. Their obligations are very different than the state, yes. But the reaction from defense counsel to, well, if there's not a specific question, I don't know what to tell you, is completely flippant and against the rules of criminal procedure and case law.
Let's just check to see. If someone asked you, what did you observe? Were they arguing? Did they put their hands on each other? Things of that nature. Let's see what's in the deposition first. And while we're here, from the last time I remember, you don't swear, but you do affirm, right?
I promise.
Well,
Your
right
Honor,
now, with one choice over the other, do you swear or do you affirm?
I affirm.
Okay, that's fine.
Your
Well,
Honor,
Jose's gonna swear you in front of the jury.
I did say something about that night, and I never.
No, just ask the lawyer to
Okay.
double check to see what
Okay.
specific questions were asked.
Okay, Judge, so I want to direct the court to, go back very quick. I want to direct the court to the witness's deposition starting on page, 33. And when the question is asked about, I'm asking you between the years of 2016, 2017, that's when the incident of the armed grabbing situation occurs.
I'm sorry, 21.
2016 to 2017. 33. So what defense was saying is that she said that this happened the day of the incident because she was in the car, which is a rigid defense, Judge, because I'm reading the deposition and I will finish, because now we're asking about the date of incident. So once I finish, I will let you know if any of that was disclosed.
Mr. Vance, if you find it, state's looking to it if you find it, let me know.
Okay, Judge, I'm going to quote this case to the court. I found it, and it's not what the defense is saying. We're gonna start on page 70 of the witness's deposition. Line 23. Let's talk about the actual incident night itself. How long were you with Daisy that day? I got her at 1:30 a.m. or p.m. p.m. on the 24th. On the 24th, and you stayed until when? Close to 2 o'clock in the morning. Why did you leave? I was exhausted, really, I was jet lagged, and after this meeting, what was going on back? Question, and I don't know what that means, I'm gonna have you explain, whatever was going on, what does that mean? Answer, I got there at 1:30 and I was there with Crystal. We were waiting for Daisy to get there. She said she was going to be there a few minutes. She was at the post office, then she pulled up in a rental, the same rental car that I'd seen her with. And so Pedro didn't know I was there, he had no idea that I arrived to Florida. So he was getting out of the car, and then he saw me, and his face just turned like a ghost. He couldn't believe I was there in front of him, so I told him, you know, you lied to me. You know, you were saying here that you thought Daisy was in the bed, and you know, I confronted him, and I said, but you didn't tell me that you dashed her back. And you know that you were punching her in the face, and she has wounds on her head. I said, you know, and she said, yeah, go ahead and tell my mom why you did that to me. And so, he said, I'm not going to stay, I'm really going to leave. I'm going to leave. I said, no, I think you should do a police report for me. And he said, I already called some friends, I only came with her. This is what he said, because I helped her get the rental car. Her truck is in the shop, and since the car's still in my name, I have to take the rental car. I said, yeah, but I want you to know why you did that to her. He said, because you know, I caught her with another man, and I know you told too late that it was your nephew. I said, but so you get to do that to her, and I told you that was my nephew, but you didn't tell me that you did that to her. And you know, he was like, well, I'm gonna leave now. Anyway, so this white man pulled up another vehicle, and he's out there talking to these 3 men. And he said, look, I haven't touched Daisy since 2016, and yeah, I lost control, but I didn't mean to hurt her. And so the morning after he got her credit card, he said, there's $17,000 in this car for her trouble. I'm sorry. and he had to
Can we stop for a second? Let me just, page 75, line 21. He was there, but he was choking her and then he ran out the door. I mean,
Is there something that preceded that? Is there other questions that preceded that? In other words, in this thing's home.
I mean, there was a lot of back and forth kind of all over the place during this deposition, as you heard. He grabbed her, again, page 75, line 3. Line 2, question, arguing is not violence. Tell me about the violence. He grabbed her by her throat and slammed her against the wall, trying to choke her, and I told him to stop. I'm calling the police. He said, no, don't, I'll lose my career. I'm leaving, and he runs out the door. Then a little bit further, he talks about choking her. Where's the surprise? I don't understand.
But the back and forth between that, I don't know, she's not specifying that it was the date of incident.
You can picture all that. I think we're clear. Anything else?
As long as I can impeach her, Judge.
Okay.
Okay.
Have a seat. Once the jury comes back in, you'll come sit right here next to me.
Okay.
Similar to the argument, right? Okay. So I'll break the jury.
All right, the jurors.
Nine jurors, with head count, presence, y'all can be seated, lawyers are present as well as the So we're not the next witness.
Yes, Your Honor, at this time I call Josephina Perez.
All right, Ms. Perez.
Right. Next one. Do you swear from the testimony about the give will be a truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
To the best of my ability, yes, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Could you please introduce yourself to the members of the jury?
Hello, I am Josephina Perez, mother of Daisy Margaret Link.
Daisy Link's your daughter.
Mhm.
Do you have another daughter?
Yes, I have several daughters. Crystal Jane Barreto is my daughter, and Gloria Gonzalez is my daughter,
Okay.
and Valentina Perez is my daughter, and my granddaughter that you just saw in here. My granddaughter is Laylene Yasmin Gonzalez.
You speak a little soft, so I'm just gonna ask you to keep your voice up, okay?
Okay, sorry about that.
You reside, where do you reside?
I reside within the state of Texas.
Back in 2022, did you also reside in the state of Texas?
Yes, I did.
Now, I want to direct you to around June 20th of 2022. Did there come a time around then where you traveled from Texas to come down here to
Yes.
Florida?
Yes, I did.
What caused you, without telling me what anyone told you, what happened that caused you to come down here from Texas back then?
I saw some photos of my daughter Daisy with her head bashed in, covered in blood. She had a giant scrape on her neck. She had a giant bruise on her arm, and the message, whoever got it, when they gave it to me, it said,
So remember, we're not saying right
okay,
now.
sorry about that
What
now.
someone else told you, but you observed photos, and then you came down to Miami.
Right, but there was like a little text with it, and all it said
You
was,
observed photos and text.
yes.
Okay. We'll ask the next question.
So these photos, exhibit B and C, defense exhibit B and C, are these two of the photos that you saw which preceded you coming down here from Texas?
Yes, yes. Mhm.
All right. So, what were you looking to accomplish when you were coming down here?
I was supposed to be, what I was looking to accomplish when I arrived before my original date was to remove her and the children to safety immediately. We had already had plans to do that. I just had to, do it at an earlier date because of this.
Now, when you say you already had plans to do that, what are you referring to?
I was supposed to come instead in around July the 4th. And once we had all the stuff packed and the children would already be out of school, that she was going to leave with us and Mr. Jimenez wasn't going to know about that. It was just going to be on a random date and he wouldn't have known.
So that plan was already in place for around 4th of July.
Right, yeah, we were coming for 4th.
But you were looking to implement that plan earlier.
Right.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And what caused you to do that was finding out what happened here?
Right.
Objection meeting.
All right, so you come down here. What happens when you come down here?
I arrived, well, as you know, I received a message with these photos, and I arrived.
Let me stop you for a second. Without telling me what the messages were, who were these messages from?
My daughter, Crystal.
Your daughter, Crystal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you traveled down here, did anybody other than Crystal know that you were coming down here?
No, nobody, well, on my end, yes. On my family side, yes, but nobody on this end.
You didn't inform anybody that you were coming down, you just came down? Is that
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right, so you come down, and what happens when you get down?
Well, like I said, I arrived within hours. I arrived at 5 a.m. And I had Crystal's husband pick me up at the airport, drop me off at Crystal's house, and he had to go to work. And I saw Daisy later in the afternoon. She didn't know I was here. I didn't want no one to know I was here.
You didn't want her to know you were here?
No, I wanted to see what was really going on. I want to observe. So when she came, I saw her. Yes, I did see the physical open wounds on her head. She had a giant bruise on her arm. She had a scrape, like a mark here. And I told her, that's it. We have to get out of here now. And I need you we're going to pack everything up and we're just going to leave.
Okay. Now, I want to fast forward to the last night that you saw Pedro Jimenez.
Mm-hmm.
You know the night I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's start off from the beginning of that day. When do you first see your daughter Daisy, or when do you first go to her house that day?
I arrived at 1:30.
In the afternoon?
Right.
Okay. And all right, so what do you do? What do you observe?
I sent her a text and I told her that I was here, at her place. And she said, okay, more or less, I'm not going to be specific. I can't remember word for word. I'm on my way.
Okay.
So.
Now you said around 1:30 p.m.?
Yeah, in the afternoon, yes.
All right. Do you recall approximately when it was that you finally left Daisy's home that night, or later that day?
Around between 1:30 to 2 a.m.
1:30 to 2 a.m.
Right, somebody picked me up, so.
All right, so you were there for around 12 hours.
Right, but not at her house, exact. I was with her, but I went to my other daughter's house too, with her.
So during that day, during those 12 hours,
Mm-hmm.
you were with Daisy for those 12 hours, but you weren't necessarily in the same spot. You went.
Right.
You went at some point. You went to Crystal's house, right?
Gloria's house.
Gloria's house.
Mm-hmm.
Your other daughter.
Yeah.
And you came back.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall around what time it was that you went to Gloria's house and when it was that you came back to Daisy's house?
Not exactly. I know it was nighttime when I left. And I think it was still daylight because the children were playing outside. So I would say I can't say exactly, maybe 10, 10:30, 11. Between 10:30, 11, we left from Gloria's house.
To go back to Daisy's house?
Yes.
Did you have a chance to see Pedro Jimenez that day?
That night, yes.
That night? You didn't see him prior to the evening?
Just when I arrived at 1:30.
Okay, what did you observe when you arrived? At 1:30 p.m.?
Yeah, in the daytime. I was sitting in the SUV with my daughter, Crystal. We were waiting for her.
Waiting for who?
Daisy.
Okay. Go ahead.
And Pedro came out of the vehicle with her, and he had this look of shock, like he couldn't believe I was there. Oh, and then I told him, why did you lie to me?
Go ahead. You told him.
I told him, why did you lie to me? You're saying that Daisy's trying to hurt you and stuff, and what did you do? Why did you do that to her? You did that to her. She didn't do anything to you. Why did you do that? So he said, I haven't touched her since 2016. So I should get some.
Objection, narrative.
Sustained. He's gonna ask another question.
And motion and then judgment, you go sidebar.
No, it's sustained, we're gonna move on.
All right, so you have an interaction with Pedro, okay? And he was there. Did he leave at some point?
Yes.
Around when did he leave?
You mean like after I said something to him? Or
I mean,
what
after
time?
that interaction,
In like 30 minutes, 3 men came and they picked them up.
3 men came and picked up Pedro.
Right, he doesn't have a car, so.
Okay. All right, so he left.
Mm-hmm.
And when was the next time that you saw Pedro after he left with those other men?
I saw him that night. I don't know the exact time, maybe 11 something, going to 12. She was supposed to take him directly home. He doesn't have a car. And she said, I'm going to take Pedro home. And
When you say she, you're talking about?
Daisy said she was going to take Pedro home, so he won't come over, because if he comes, then we're going to have a problem. So let me give him a ride home. And I told her, okay, go.
Objection, narrative, hearsay.
Oh, you're almost done with your thought.
Yeah, I'm just going to say that, and then I sent her to the store, and he did come instead of going straight home.
So Daisy came back with Pedro to Daisy's house.
Right.
Now, once he's there, do you observe any interactions or altercations between Pedro and your daughter Daisy?
Yes.
Okay, what did you observe?
First, he choked her for a reason, a conversation that they had, and her response made him very, very angry. And then I told him, I'm going to call the police. The second observance was
Hold
when.
on, before we get to the second.
Okay.
What, if anything, did Pedro do when you told him that first time, I'm going to call the police?
He said, don't call the police on me or I'll lose my career. I'm leaving. And then he ran out the door.
He ran away?
Yes.
Do you know where he went?
No.
Okay.
It was inside the house, so I don't know.
Did he come back at some point?
Yes.
All right, when did he come back?
About maybe 15, so many minutes later, I was with her sitting out front by the AC unit. That's the front door. So I turned my head around, and Mr. Jimenez stuck his arm in the door, in the window. There's a broken window that is punched out. And he unlocked the door and went inside, started knocking things over. And then Daisy opened the door in the front. They have like one door is on this side, one is on this side. And she said,
Objection, hearsay. Overruled.
Go ahead.
oh, go ahead. She said, get out of my house. Give me my stuff back.
Now, she said, get out of my house. Did Pedro live there, as far as you know?
No, but, he would just stop by, like when you have your time out from the truck driving.
Right.
Yeah, he would just show up, so.
So I just want to ask you some follow-up.
Mhm.
You said that he stuck his hand through a broken window and unlocked the door?
Right.
So was he outside and he stuck his hand into the house to unlock the door from the outside? Is that?
Right, I'm sitting at the front window, so I see the door. I see him put his arm in. He's turning the knob, like little knob that you have there. And so I just turned around to Daisy real quick and I said, hey, he's coming in through the back door.
Objection, hearsay, narrative.
Overruled. That's the end of her question. Her answer, you can ask the next question.
All right, so he came in, he started knocking things down, and then he was told to leave. Is that right?
Yeah, I told him, no, I didn't tell him. She told him, get out of my house now, get out of here. And he grabbed her purse that had her cell phone in it. It was a red purse. And she had like a pint of whiskey on top of the stove that she had bought, And so he took it and he ran out the back door.
Okay. Did you see where he went?
No. Actually, we weren't trying to cause a problem with him. That was the whole point that she made.
Hold on, there's no pending question. The question was, did you see where you went? No.
No.
I was gonna ask another question.
All right. At some point, does he come back, and if so, when?
The third time he came back, it wasn't that he came back, he was hiding in the alley behind the truck.
Let me stop you. If you remember, this third time, do you know more or less what time this was?
No, we were sitting outside, like in the front by the front door.
Is it dark already?
Yeah, it's dark.
Okay, all right, so the third time, you were saying?
I didn't know it was him at first. It's like really dark, and it's a shadow. Like, you can see someone standing there. So I said, Pedro, is that you? Pedro. And then he moved and he came towards me and then he laughed. He was saying he was going to tell me some stuff,
Okay.
some stuff about Daisy.
Okay. Is there any other physical altercation that occurs at that point or after that point?
Then the last one was when she went to the back. We thought he was going to be gone by then. And then she said, I'm going to look over. She went to the alley to see if she could see her purse thrown there since she kept standing around the alley. So I told her, let's wait till the morning. She goes, no, just in case all my things are in there. Like my cards, my phone. Let me see if it's there. And then he came, I'm trying to figure, from this way. I don't know east, west, or north. It was dark out, but he went like this and he saw her and he came running like this and he clotheslined her. Like when you go like this and knocked her back. And then he said some cuss words and grabbed her by her hair and then hit her like this. Like you pick someone up and he put her face on the, it's like a gravel. Yeah, I could see him. And I told him, now I'm not playing with you. I'm gonna call the police for sure. And he didn't say a word to me. He ran away.
Objection, non-responsive. Overruled. You finish your thought, you can say a word to you, and then.
He left. That was it. He ran off.
Is that the last time you saw him?
That's the last time I saw him. Yes.
Okay. So that was the last time you saw him. Before that, if you know, how many times was he told to leave, either by yourself or by your daughter?
Many, like the parts that I didn't discuss. She was saying, "Leave, get out of my house."
Hold on, so the question is how many times?
Maybe about 5 times between the both of us.
Okay, so he's gonna ask another question.
Okay. All right, so that was the last time you saw him. He left. At some point, you leave Daisy's house as well, correct?
Right, I left later, much later, about, like I told you, the time.
How long after this last time that you saw him was it that you left?
Maybe 30 minutes, and I looked around, I didn't see him anywhere, so I told her, you know, I'm gonna go home, I'm tired, and I discussed it with my other daughter. I said, I need a ride home, you know what? I don't wanna be around this stuff. I told him to go, and hopefully he'll stay gone until the morning we can figure out what's wrong.
Okay. And what was the plan for the following day?
We were supposed to have a barbecue, since I had just arrived, and then we were gonna plan, you know, like basically her escape without him knowing. Like, I told her, you know, we can't let him know anything. You know. And so that was our plan for the next day.
Okay. But then at some point, not long after that, you ended up going back to Daisy's house, correct?
In the morning, after the police called me.
The police called you?
Yeah, it was, they told me that to come get the children and get them away, so I did.
Okay. If I can just have a moment, Your Honor. Judge, that's all the questions I have at this time. Thank you.
Let's see if the state has any questions for you.
Good afternoon, Ms.
Good
Perez.
afternoon, ma'am.
I want to talk about the story that you said on direct examination.
Objection to characterization. Move to strike.
Saying, just move on.
Yes, Judge. So you mentioned on direct examination that you told Pedro on the night of the incident, get out. Did I say that right?
That I said to him?
Yeah, that's what you testified to. I
What-
just want to make sure I
Wait
heard
a
you
minute,
right.
because I gotta make sure. At what point, the first time, the second, or the third? Because I said different things.
So you tell Miss Perez,
Mhm.
did you, on direct examination,
Mhm.
testify that you told Pedro on the night he was shot to get out of the house?
I told him to leave.
Okay, you told him to leave.
Right,
You remember giving a deposition.
right.
The state was there. The state attorney was there.
Will there be a difference, the word leave and get out? I don't, there was.
So
we
Ms.
kept-
Perez, my questions,
Finish the thought.
If you're saying leave or get out, we said it so many times. I could make a mistake and say I said one thing or the other, but we did say it.
I understand, Ms.
Okay.
Perez. I don't want you to make a mistake here today, though. So I'm going to ask it again, okay?
Mhm.
Did you testify on direct examination that you told Pedro on the night he was shot
Mhm.
to leave the house?
Can you refresh my memory? Can you reread that to me? Like, what was the question and the deposition?
Ms. Perez, so is it that you did say it, or is it that now you're not remembering? So
No,
wanna
I
be
know
clear.
what I said.
Okay, so
ma'am.
did you say it?
However, on the day of the deposition, you had a
Ms.
mic
Perez, I don't
problem,
want to-
so I want to make sure that,
I understand, Ms.
Okay.
Perez, but my question is,
I would ask that
Very
you allow
clear.
the witness to finish her answer,
This is
please.
just saying, finish your answer. We're not gonna go in back and forth, okay?
right, I just don't know if that was the time that the mic kept going out.
sorry, Ms. Perez, go ahead.
What I was saying was that when I was being depositioned, the mic kept cutting in and out. So every time I would get a question, it could have been the beginning of one question and the end of another.
Okay.
So that's why I'm asking you, at what point are you stating that I said to leave?
So I'll ask my question very specifically and you can answer, okay?
Okay.
Did you say right now, as your testimony in court,
Right.
did you say that you told Pedro to leave the house on the night he was shot? At any point, did you say that during your questioning?
During the inside, yes.
During your questioning?
Yeah.
You remember giving a deposition.
Right.
The state attorney was there.
Right.
The defense attorney was there.
Mm-hmm.
A court reporter was there.
Right.
And she was writing down everything you said.
Right.
And you swore to tell the truth.
It's not that you swear to tell the truth, it's that.
Ms. Perez, if you allow me to finish.
Okay.
Thank you. And you swore to tell the truth,
Mm-hmm.
the whole truth,
Right.
and nothing but the truth. That's a question.
To the best of my ability.
To the best of your abilities,
Right.
you swore to tell the truth. Just like you did here today?
Of course.
Okay. Now directing court counsel and witness to the witness's deposition conducted on September 9, 2025. Ms. Perez, I want you to look and see where is it that you say that you told Pedro to leave the house? Any point
Objection,
of that
improper
page?
impeachment.
It's the same.
Can you
Hold on,
point
no,
to
no,
me?
she's gonna re-ask the question.
Can you?
Where in this deposition did you tell
Objection.
Pedro, where in the deposition did you tell Pedro to leave the house?
No objection.
It's the same.
I
Hold
cannot
on,
see.
No.
You're gonna have to re-ask the question.
Okay, ma'am.
Judge, may we go sidebar? Permission to approach, Judge? Now, Ms. Perez, where on this page do you say, I told Pedro to get out? Page 70. And please let us know when you're done with the page.
Okay, what about it?
Do you see on this page 70 where you stated that you told Pedro to get out of the house? Is it yes or no?
We're not even in the house at this point. You said, you're asking me at 1:30.
Where on this page do you mention that you told Pedro to get out of the house? It's just yes or no.
What is this in reference to, ma'am?
Okay.
That's why I'm confused because
Okay.
I'm not in the house
We're
at
going to
this
start
time.
with this line
Mhm.
where it says, starting on line 23, let's talk about the actual incident night.
Mhm.
And I want you to start reading from there.
Improper impeachment.
Yeah, it says I got there at 1:30.
Hold on, oh, so the question is, the
Yes,
question
ma'am.
about tell us what happened that night.
Right,
Okay, review the pages in front of you.
right.
Did you ever inform the lawyer who was questioning you that way?
That you told Pedro to get out of the house.
I never got a chance to tell him anything. That's the truth.
Ms. Perez.
That's your answer. Let's ask another question if you have another question.
Okay.
So that's a no. Okay. So now you were also asked about coming to get Daisy after the pistol whipping situation.
Right.
You weren't present when that happened, right, Ms. Perez?
No, I wasn't.
You don't know how it happened?
Not based on my own knowledge. No, I wasn't here. I wasn't there.
You don't know where it happened?
No.
You don't know the context of that whole pistol whipping situation, right?
Well, I knew about it, but not because I was there. Someone told me. The other party that was there.
And that someone that told you was your daughter.
No, my nephew also told me.
Okay, but you only know from what they
Right.
told you because you weren't there.
Of course.
Now, you live in Texas, correct?
Yes.
And you lived in Texas since 2011, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And Daisy has lived in Homestead since 2011, you would say.
Since she was born.
So since she was born, so
Right.
that's a yes.
Of course.
Okay, so, and your relationship with Daisy isn't close. you would say?
Well, we talk every day almost.
Okay.
Even
so-
though we're far away, yeah.
But you don't know about the relationship with her and Pedro on a daily basis?
Only verbally, by conversation.
Only what she tells you?
Right,
And you would actually speak to Pedro on different times?
yes, I do.
You had a good relationship with Pedro, a consistent relationship with Pedro, I would say.
It wasn't good, and it wasn't consistent, but I did keep a relationship with him as well.
He would call you.
Right.
Now, you were also asked about the date of incident. So you came down to get Daisy and pack up, right?
Yeah, that was the plan.
But then you mentioned you were going to have a barbecue the day after.
And,
So were you having a barbecue or were you trying to get her out of Miami fast?
the barbecue has nothing to do with how I was gonna get her out. I mean, we were gonna have a barbecue as a family.
So I'm just trying to figure out at what time between you coming to Miami and you having the barbecue, what time are you packing?
Off and on, she already had stuff all over the floor to wash and everything. We're not making it obvious that she's trying to leave. It's supposed to be like nobody's gonna know.
Okay. You also mentioned you saw Pedro that day. Is that right?
Are you talking
The
about?
night of he was shot.
Yes.
Isn't it true, Ms. Perez, that Pedro was the one who got the rental for your daughter?
Yeah, the truck was still in his name.
So he was the one who got the rental for your daughter?
Right.
And isn't it true, Ms. Perez, because you were there, that they were driving up and down together?
No, they arrived together at the apartment. I don't know if they were up and down. He didn't even know I was here.
We'll break it down then.
Okay.
When they arrived to the apartment, they arrived in a car?
Yes, and
They arrived together in the car?
they arrived together.
They were with the kids as well at one point?
No, they weren't with the children.
So if I were to show you ring camera footage before he was shot with him, Daisy, and the kids, would you recognize that?
I don't recall the kids getting out of the car. I recall him and her getting out of the car. So, I mean, yeah, you would have to check that.
So, Ms. Perez, I'm kind of confused with your timeline. You were there at the house the night Pedro was shot, correct?
Yes,
And the kids were also at the house before he was shot.
they were with us though, not with him.
But Pedro at one point comes to the house with
Right.
Daisy in the car.
She was supposed to give him a ride home.
Okay, so we're going to start at the beginning. When you first get to Daisy's house, isn't it true that Daisy and Pedro arrived in the car together?
They arrived together, yes.
Okay. Now, isn't it also true that they were driving multiple locations together?
When they arrived together, okay, and he saw that I arrived there, and we got into that conversation about what happened to her, I told you he left with 3 men.
So he left the house.
He didn't go in the house. He stood right outside and talked to me about the incident, and then he left. He said, I called some friends, I'm
He
leaving.
left with his friends.
Right.
And isn't it true, Ms. Perez, that your daughter went to go get him from those friends' house?
She went to go, you want me to tell you why?
Ms.
Okay,
Perez, I
it's
just want
either
you to
yes
answer
or
yes or
no.
no.
Okay,
Isn't
yeah.
it true that your daughter went
Yes,
to go
she
pick up
did.
Pedro from his friend's house?
Right.
So your daughter is so scared that she goes to pick up Pedro after he leaves from the friend's house.
She was supposed to take him home so he doesn't come and harm us. So she's trying to cooperate with him.
I understand, Ms.
Okay.
Perez, but isn't it true that your daughter was the one who decided to go pick up Pedro?
Well, it'd be better than having him come to the house where the children were.
Ms. Perez, my
So
question is very specific. Isn't it true that your daughter was the one who decided to go pick up Pedro? He didn't ask her to go pick him up.
I don't know that.
Would it surprise you to learn that she told the detectives that she went on her own will?
No, sidebar, please. Georgia, give me more cups, please, so I can put it in this. Does anyone have cups? Is that?
I have some cups on in the room over there.
What kind of cup?
Alright, do me a favor, we'll bring you water outside, can you just step outside?
Over here?
Yeah, maybe a few minutes. to do it. Alright, let me see these text messages.
Yes, sir.
It's just those first two.
I'm looking for June what?
19, Judge. It's a little box at the top.
There's a
says
line of
that-
question, or there's a line of text messages from the defendant's mother where she says something to the effect, "You're hanging around with certain people, you're on drugs again." Judge, I want to bring this to attention. I stepped outside for a moment because I heard laughter, and honestly, I went to use the restroom. Each and every one of the defense's witnesses are all sitting next to each other, all discussing things. I don't know the context of what they're talking about, but the rule of sequestration has been invoked. This has been a problem throughout the entirety of this trial.
Okay. Please measure your response. Mr. Tomas, can you just go check outside to make sure we're not discussing your testimony?
Yes, ma'am.
And apparently one of the witnesses is watching trial on YouTube right now. It's going to the comments. And I think that's what they're laughing about.
Well, we're not talking about the case. I'm sorry, we're not talking about your testimony.
Judge, the entire trial is
Hold on,
playing.
Tomas not here.
Oh.
Let's just wait for Tomas to get back. Mr. Tomas, did you?
Yes, she wasn't talking about her testimony.
There was a comment that was made. I told Mr. Rita, at least they're not talking about the testimony, so he made a comment, and I don't think we realized you weren't here, just Linda's here, that they're laughing about it when we trial online. So I said, at least they're not talking about their testimonies, and then he came back with me.
Right, she wasn't talking about her testimony, but I told her, look, just, when you're in the middle of your testimony, just sit over there and just don't talk. So that's what they're doing.
Judges were watching the trial.
Who's her?
Any of the witnesses. We were informed that the last witness, which would be Josephina Perez, is actively watching the trial, watching playback of the trial, laughing at comments of the trial.
Says who to you? Do you want me to, if you're gonna make these allegations, please make sure to back them up so I can have an evidentiary hearing, so if I told someone in contempt, I can do it appropriately.
As soon as Mr. Artala comes back, I will ask him who texted him this, but that is wildly improper for a witness to actively be involved in a trial to that manner, and I absolutely think that we should be having that evidentiary hearing.
You need to bring me names and a body, and then we can have an evidentiary hearing.
I'm getting that information right now.
the job is something you should have been doing. You should have been doing yourself. You've been hanging around Pedro's friends. That's why he's no good, and neither are you, when he's going to jail, and so are his friends. I'm going to find you for it. That's what you all want to do.
Judge, sorry, can you read it again?
Which text message do you think she opened the door to? I have it on page 16.
It's where it starts, I'll tell you right now, it starts. Yeah, I know you hung up, starting with that one.
What page?
Page 5, Judge, well, I don't know if you have page 5. Judge, can I, so I can just point it out to you? Yeah, I wrote you.
George of the last, prior to the last, can you stand up, please?
Which text message is it? Is this the only one or is there more?
That was the only one.
Guys, I need the messages so I can make a rule.
So it's these two? Okay, so I guess it's page 10 and page 5.
Yeah, there's a context that starts out with pictures from what we just saw here, right?
No, Judge, the pictures of a baby.
Judge, those pictures are in evidence or have been in evidence?
No, my question is, these text messages between Miss Lincoln and her mom, right?
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yes, Judge.
What starts the back and forth between her and the mom? Aren't there pictures from the quote-unquote pistol whipping incident?
Judge, we know that from her testimony.
Okay, well, am I not looking at these in context?
Okay, so you want the first pictures?
Yes. So,
So it starts with page 6. And then, Judge, if you want the context, then can I see page?
I know the context, but they're in order, so let's put them in order.
And so here's page 11 to 11, 12, 14. I think you have 16. Okay, you have, so start, this is the first page of 16, 44, 17.
Okay, so do you want the text message on page 7?
Yes, Judge. So the state is requesting the text message on page 7, on page, I think it was 11, on page 16, and if the court wants to give context in 17 as well.
You said the text on page 7, what else?
7, 11, 16, and 17.
Seven is for what purpose?
Do you have 5, Judge? So it's 5, 6, 7.
I have 5.
Right, so it starts on 5. And then,
Well, I need to figure out together before you lose the kids forever this time.
yes, that's the,
Having people you don't even know watching their kids, like we do the OR with your kids, what bullshit is that? That's what you think she opened the door to?
but yes, Judge, because if you continue to read the messages, so basically she said she came down here to bring Daisy to Texas, but those messages, which are highly relevant because there are 6/20/2022, which is,
So, okay, the one on page 5 that I just read is from June 16th, 2022.
Yep.
Okay. The one on page 7 is from June 16th, also 2022. And which one do you guys want to introduce in that one?
What page are you on, 6, Judge?
On page 7.
No, Judge, we don't want page 7, but the court was saying context.
Okay, so. Withdraw withdraw the request on page 7.
Yep.
All right, what about page 11? What's that,
Page 11.
page 11?
Judge, we want page 10 and 11 to give context.
Alright.
So if you start on page 10, she starts talking about, before that was the head injury, so it's a continuation of it.
And what's the text message in page 10?
Where the witness literally says, I don't give a shit about you, now all I care about is the kids.
And how does that open the door?
Judge, it opens the door because this witness is literally saying that she came down here for Daisy's safety. She was so scared about Daisy. She was so scared for her safety. And these messages literally prove that she was trying to come down before this incident to take the kids away from Daisy.
And page 11, sentencing before they take the motions forever.
That's the kids.
Okay. And what's on page 16?
Page 16.
I'm going to come here to finish the job, something you should have done.
Yeah, Judge,
So
so
you yourself, you've been hanging around with Pedro's friends, and that's why he's no good, and neither are you. But he's going to jail, and so are his friends. I'm going to find each one of them. So this, to me, indicates she has a problem with Miss Link having her kids hang around Pedro and Pedro's friends. How does that open the door to any other motive that this grandma has to come and pick up her kids?
Judge, the messages,
So to keep the kids away from Miss Link and not from the outside force.
the messages before that, she talks about taking them away from Miss Link because of Miss Link. Now on this page, she's adding to that and mentioning Pedro and everyone else. But if you go back, she's first talking about Miss Link. And she says, if you don't get your shit together, it literally says that.
Which we also have a court order entered into evidence already by defense for something of limiting the parental rights, which we know that Ms. Link also had her parental rights limited. There was a family court case based off of that alone, which this in greater context when the defendant's mother says, look how hard you work to get your kids back. Do you want to lose them forever?
What's on page 17 that you all want?
17. Nothing, Judge.
17 was also withdrawn. All right, Mr. Tomas, what's your response?
I don't think she's done anything to open the door to that. I don't see how this impeaches her.
John's response?
Judge, yes, so the defense opened the door because the witness has testified on multiple occasions at this point that the sole purpose that she came down here was to take Daisy away from Miami to move her to Texas. And that's basically she was scared for her safety and she was scared about Pedro. So the witness has opened the door, Judge, because these messages go to prove the exact opposite, which was that she wasn't scared for Pedro. She was literally, a couple days before this entire incident, was going to come down here and try to take the kids from Miss Link based on Miss Link's actions and what she felt was not being fit of a mother. And then add to the other text message about Pedro and his friends.
So would you agree that part of this message has to do with Ms. Perez discussing some prior action by Ms. Link, maybe drug use, but also the behavior of Mr. Jimenez and his friends? When you're talking about her being a bad mom, do these messages contain both of those quote-unquote allegations from Ms. Perez? You want to impeach her by saying,
Yes, Judge.
no, you really came down here because Miss Link is a bad money, right?
Yes,
Right?
Judge, Sunday, yes,
So
correct.
when in the text messages it talks about not just how hard Miss Link fought to get the kids back, maybe some drug allegations, but it also talks about Miss Link letting her kids hang around Pedro and Pedro's friends, right?
Judge, so,
Right?
Okay.
In context, right?
Judge, if you want to give it context, that's correct, Judge. But again, I feel like the court is shying away from the very first start of these messages are about Miss Link, her drug use, or whatever she's accusing her of, Judge. Now you come to the end of that conversation, and the
Hold on, the only thing that's relevant right now, for my purposes, let's start on page 8. And the pictures are sent 5 days before the shooting, because just about everything beforehand is not relevant to me.
Judge, so the page that the state wants is not relevant? I'm confused.
Answer my question. Is there anything else you want to add to the record? I'm not inclined to let them in. Try to convince me otherwise. I don't see that this is opening the door. Also, in the full context, Ms. Perez is complaining about Mr. Jimenez as a father. Complaining
Okay,
about him
Judge.
as well.
So you just stated, the court just stated, you don't see how we open the door. I, on cross-examination then, am going to ask her, did you have any concerns about the kids being with Daisy at any point up until before Pedro was shot? And if her answer is no, Judge, the case law is clear that we can impeach by any means, including extrinsic evidence, and if she denies those messages, then they come into evidence.
You guys really want to try this a second time, right? You guys really want the conviction to try this a second time?
Judge, it's not.
You feel my frustration of how
Of course,
this
Judge.
is leading me into error?
Judge, I understand the court's frustration, Judge, but you also have to
How this is
understand.
leading me into error by focusing on her parenting skills, number one, maybe drug use, uncharged crimes, number two, and how in the full context of what you want to extract, essentially half of the text messages to show how Ms. Perez thinks her mother is an unfit mother. There's also parts of this where Ms. Perez thinks Mr. Jimenez is an unfit father. Right?
Judge, so I understand the court's frustration, Judge, but you also have to understand the state's frustration because the defense was allowed on direct examination to present all of this testimony, essentially, basically saying that Pedro was this sole aggressor, that basically putting in the light that he was the one that caused everything, that everyone was scared of him, Judge. But you have to put it into context, Judge, which we are allowed, and she also mentioned, Judge, let me ask, that I asked her, are you close to her? And she says, we're close, we talk every day. And these messages go to show that they don't have the great relationship that she has painted on direct examination. We should be allowed to tell the story, not based on what defense is just saying. We should be allowed to impeach witnesses with their own testimony about things that they're painting in a different light. We should be allowed to explain that and impeach.
All right, thank you. The request is denied. Everything must be seen in context and relevancy. She didn't necessarily open the door. And you didn't say it on some level. You want to introduce text messages out of context relating to the possibility of uncharged crimes that are years old, because we know that there may have been a DCF case against Ms. Link, but it's years old. And her testimony is not inconsistent with regards to the primary reason that she came down to retrieve the kids. And I might add, those text messages start a chain of conversation, which starts out with pictures of Miss Link's injuries to her mother. It's not inconsistent with what she was talking about, which is her primary motive of coming down here to retrieve Miss Link as well as the kids. All right, well, your objections are only for the record.
Judge, I'm going to ask at this point that we have
Do you want to mark them? So that if it goes up on appeal, you have it?
Sure. I'm also going to ask that we can conduct a contempt hearing at this point. I just also received screenshots of Ms. Paredo's Facebook page where she is actively posting and commenting about this trial while the state's witnesses were testifying. I have numerous pages of screenshots showing that, news articles, commentary from YouTube, etc. Ms. Paredo just testified a few hours ago.
So it sounds like something I can take up after we adjourn the visit.
Sure. I think
I'm not gonna waste this jury's time. I had a hearing right now.
I understand.
So we're gonna keep this moving for now.
I understand that, Judge, but we also need to potentially also have one for Ms. Perez. I have somebody from the state attorney's office who actively saw as she went out She was speaking to Laylin and Crystal with the minor child still there who has yet to be deposed, talking about this case.
What is she saying? What are the words that were coming out of her mouth?
I can bring that person in, like I said, but it doesn't really
You
matter.
have to have a good faith basis. It doesn't matter.
I absolutely do have a
Ooh, I gotta go back in there. Ha, ha, ha.
No, they're-
That could be talking about.
No,
the
they
same
were
person.
watching the YouTube feed of this case and laughing about it.
You have to be specific. If I'm going to pause these proceedings, have a contempt hearing, we're gonna have an evidentiary hearing, but it has to be specific.
Judge, like I said, I can bring that person in who saw it.
We're gonna do it right now.
What's the other remedy here, Judge, that we?
The other remedy is for you all to be prepared to ask me to pause this, so that I'm not having this jury hang out in there for 30+ minutes.
Judge, the remedy is to pause this trial now
Based on what?
because this witness's testimony, who's actively testifying in this case, has been actively watching the proceedings of this case. When the rule of sequestration has been invoked, we need to get to the bottom of what she actually has been watching and doing during this trial, because her testimony very well could be tainted.
Yeah, but you're guessing.
I'm not guessing. I have
I don't know what's gonna happen when I bring this witness in, but it better not be a waste of this jury's time.
Judge, I absolutely have. I have screenshots of Crystal Paredo's Facebook page posting these things from 5 days ago. It is one thing to say, my sister's on trial and I'm really scared for her, etc., etc., etc. It is another thing to do when this court has already kicked her off of the Zoom once, when we were about to start opening statements here, when this court has instructed the defendant that her family is not to be involved in these proceedings, to actively be doing those things. I get that this is a high-profile case. I am well aware of that.
Listen to me. I've been doing this for 21 years. I take every case seriously, whether the cameras are here or the cameras are not. Every defendant matters, whether it's a drug case, something simple or something more
I
serious.
agree with the court.
Like
I'm not saying the court is doing
cameras
this.
don't matter to me.
I agree.
I wish they mattered. They didn't matter to others as much as they do.
I agree with the
Hold on a
court.
second, Go ahead. Coffee's gonna buy me some more time. Thank you.
I agree with
We
you.
gotta move this along. How else do you want to proceed?
I think we
All right,
have.
Mr. Tomas, go outside. Please tell Ms. Perez not to discuss this case with anybody else. You've already told her that. Make her sit far away from others.
Yes, ma'am.
Bring in the state attorney person that you want to hear from. Can you go get Mr. Lamont?
I don't know what it is. Would you like me to forward these?
Hold on, so we're waiting until Mr. Lamont comes back.
No, I'm asking the court if you want me to forward these to you and defense counsel.
Hold on, just wait for Mr. Lamont.
Yes, sir.
Can you see Mr. Lamont is in the bathroom?
Sorry, Joe, this is meant to be Western.
Okay, State, can you want me to hear from?
So, Judge, Mr. Perez is in the middle of taking a plea in front of Judge Brinkley. To me, from what I've been told, I don't think that he needs to testify here. But what I do think needs to be put into the record, and Ms. Barreto should absolutely answer for these.
Email me and
Yep.
Mr. Lamont.
And then I think that Ms. Perez also needs to be questioned. As I mentioned before, Ms. Perez, Ms. Gonzalez, and I believe Ms. Barreto were all outside speaking as I stepped outside briefly with the minor child in tow. I have no doubts based off of these, and I'm going to send these right now to everyone, that they have been actively speaking about this case. And I think the court needs to do an inquiry of these witnesses about that, because this is actively a violation of the rules.
You're guessing right now.
Judge-
Just send me what you have and I will review it.
It is not a yes when I'm holding it
They
in my
are
hand.
family, they are family, right? So. if
They're not just
talking-
family.
If they're talking to each other, what are you expecting to do when you stand outside? You have to bring me something more than just, I walked out.
Judge,
They're
put me on-
together talking.
Judge, no,
No?
absolutely not, no.
Okay. Did you overhear them discussing this case?
I watched Ms. Perez be handed things, yes. I saw the YouTube feed myself, yes.
Let me see what you have. Go ahead and go to me.
It was just sent.
Okay, so in context of what? This is Ms. Barreto sharing it on her Facebook page?
Right, and I've actually watched some of those videos. There's live feeds in there. I don't recall the very first post, but I've watched that video myself, in which that person is actively talking about what the state's testimony was. There was conversations about how we went sidebar about hearsay objections in that as well. These articles specifically talk about what was said and what was not said in trial, what came out during trial as well. Again, these are not just family members. These are defense witnesses, one of which has been excluded that I'm hoping to take the deposition of today, who very well be, and I will remind the court, only a few weeks ago, Ms. Link herself said that she was talking to the child about the case. There are huge issues when it comes to witnesses speaking about the case prior to and during and after their testimony, and there's a reason that the rule of sequestration exists. There's a reason the only person allowed in a trial
during other witnesses' testimony is the defendant and not other witnesses. So that way they don't change their testimony to corroborate other testimony. That is what this is showing, that Crystal Pareto is actively watching this case, actively, whether it's on a live stream because Your Honor kicked her off of the Zoom, posting about it. There's no commentary, sure, but there's a difference for, like I said before, being scared for your sibling because they're facing charges versus violating rules, and that is clear as day here.
What's your response to us?
Judge, my response is what I just saw in the email from the state shows that a post was shared. That's it. So you can certainly inquire. Multiple posts were shared. That doesn't mean she viewed it. That doesn't mean she consumed it. You can inquire, but there's no.
Isn't one remedy to have her called back and the state can impeach her?
No, I think the actual remedy here would be exclude all of her testimony.
Okay, that sounds like a nuclear option also, Mr. Rubio.
Judge, I don't know how many times we have to have somebody violate things, do things they're not supposed to. There is, the other remedy would be what? To impeach her and say, you watched this case?
Bring her back in. Bring her back in. Bring Crystal back in.
Crystal, correct?
Yes.
I think she may have gone downstairs. She's not out there, Judge, but I'll call her.
Can you bring Ms. Perez back in here also? Ms. Perez, just use that podium there. You're still on the road, okay? Did you talk to anybody before you testified here today about what you would be testifying to?
Did I talk to anybody? No, because I didn't know what I was supposed to be testifying to.
Did you watch any coverage of this trial?
No, I did not.
I have to open it up to the lawyers to question you, to
Okay.
see if any witness, including you, has been talking to each other, because that's not allowed. Once the rule of sequestration has been invoked, witnesses are not supposed to talk to each other about the case. For obvious reasons, they can't match up their stories, right, or their testimony. They also can't know what other witnesses testified to, because that would affect their testimony. That sort of makes sense, right?
Yes, it does.
So let me see if the lawyers have any questions for you.
Xavier.
Yeah, you guys, you can go first.
Ms. Perez, how did you get here today?
I came by car.
Who did you drive with?
I drove with my daughter Crystal.
Did you and Crystal discuss the case in your testimony on the way over here?
No, I just got here at 5 o'clock. I got to her house at 5, and then my sister is the one who brought me from the airport to here. And then I went to sleep for a while, and then we were on our way.
Were you watching the YouTube channel that records the entire trials?
No. Actually, I don't live here. I'm with the kids, so I'm not going to put the YouTube channel on.
Are you aware of Ms. Pareto watching the YouTube channels that capture the entire trials?
No, I don't know. I just got here today.
5-10 minutes ago, when you were excused from your testimony, were you and Crystal and your other family members watching this trial actively on YouTube and laughing out loud?
No, I told her I got put out, and I don't know what's going on. That's what I told her. I said, I don't know what's going on. They told me to leave.
What were they doing?
I don't know.
You don't know what they were doing?
No, they were sitting there.
On their phone?
Yeah, I think so.
So you couldn't hear anything?
No. Ma'am, I just approached them and told them, they asked me, why are we out here again? I said, I don't know what's going on, why? She goes, oh, they were laughing. They said, oh, you probably said something, or you just kept running on, and then Mr. Tomas told me to go sit on the other side.
They didn't ask you about your testimony?
No. They didn't, no.
You know you're under oath, correct, Ms. Perez?
Yes, sir. He should know, he was standing out there right by me. And I told my granddaughter, look, go outside.
And was PJ in the middle of it?
I don't think so.
Where was PJ?
He was sitting with them outside.
So when I asked if PJ was in
He's
the middle of
supposed to, he's only 11. Do you want him to sit by himself?
So Ms. Perez, when I asked you if PJ was in the middle of all of that, you said no.
In the middle of all of what?
Was he with them when this was going on?
When they asked me why I got put out?
When they asked you why you got put out, when they were on their phones, when they were outside?
Ma'am, I don't know what they were looking at on their phone, first of all. What he saw or heard, I don't know. I just walked right out the door and Mr. Tomas came a few minutes later and says, you're not supposed to be sitting together or else they're going to think you're talking. I didn't talk to anybody. I just walked up to them and said, I don't know. I got put out right now. I don't know what's going on.
Ms. Perez, what's in your hand?
Oh, my cell phone.
No, what paperwork is in your hand?
I don't know. Am I supposed to have this?
Ms. Perez, what paperwork is in your hand?
My testimony, my deposition,
Ms.
right?
Perez, who gave you your deposition in the middle of your testimony that you are live testifying?
Yeah, I didn't have this. I just came in with it right now.
Judge, who gave it to you? Who gave it to you, Ms. Perez?
Aren't I supposed to have this?
Ms. Perez, who gave you
No.
your deposition?
Hold on, we're not gonna get back and forth.
I don't know what's going on. Am I not supposed to have this?
You can have it. Where did you get it?
I thought I got it from the attorney.
Judge, she thought she got it? Judge, she's not.
Wait a
I'm
minute.
done with your question.
Judge, Ms. Perez,
What?
about 5-10 minutes ago, when you finished up with your testimony, who handed you that deposition?
I didn't, I've had this in my hand, but
While you were testifying?
no, I had it, it was outside.
Right. Who handed it to you when you walked back outside?
I don't remember.
Okay, so.
And I'm being honest with you.
Right, I can tell you because I watched it.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you were watching for something, but I didn't know what it was.
Lynn gave it to you.
Oh, did she? Okay.
And Lynn was sitting right next to PJ.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I don't know.
And then you
Yeah.
were actively looking at a computer with a live feed of the YouTube feed from long.
I was?
Yes.
No, I was not. I just walked out the door. How is it that I watched a live feed when I just walked out the door?
You walked up to Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
She handed that to you. And there was a live YouTube feed from long crime. Do you remember that?
No, I don't. And you know what? I'm going to say something. That is the truth and the God's honest truth. I just approached them. They asked me what was wrong. And you know what? I am so exhausted with you, sir. I got here at 5 in the morning. I didn't hold a conversation with no one. I passed out when I got to my daughter's house. Then, if somebody even handed me this right now, I wasn't even paying attention to that. And now you're accusing me of watching a live feed? You think that I would allow that little boy to watch a live feed? That's insanity what you're saying right here now. I would never do that.
You're not gonna get that. Do you know why you're not gonna get that? Because you have to lay the reason to do it. Do you understand? We don't go from 0 to 10 like this.
Judge, I would ask that this witness please be excused before we make further.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we give the other side an opportunity before we start making requests in front of the witness?
I wasn't making a request, I just asked.
Mr. Maria made the request, right? Why don't we just measure our words and our requests? Mr. Tomas, do you want to hear from Ms. Perez?
Briefly, Judge. Ms. Perez, earlier today, when I first saw you, I gave you a copy of your deposition and I asked you to look through it, correct?
Right,
That was well before you testified.
right.
Have you looked at any of that since you began testifying?
No, actually, I've been walking around with it in my hand, sir. I tried to look at it, and guess what? I didn't. That's why I'm asking them to read it to me, because I didn't read it.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Please go step outside.
Me, okay.
I think Crystal's out there now.
Here. Let me give this to you, because...
Ms. Perez, I want to remind you, don't talk about your testimony with any other witness.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Perez, sorry. Ms. Guerrero, please disclose, please. You're still under oath from earlier today. You're still under oath from earlier today.
Okay.
5 days ago or so, you shared some posts from coverage of this trial on your Facebook page.
Yes.
Did you watch them?
No. I only post them because people always coming to me about my sister, asking about the trial. So anytime I see anything that's on my feed that just pops up, I guess, because pops up on my Facebook feed, I just share it to my story or share it to my page.
You did not watch any of the coverage?
No. Well, I was told I couldn't watch anything of the trial.
Did you talk to any witness about your testimony before testifying?
About my testimony?
Did you talk to any other witness, such as your mother or Laineen, about your testimony before you testified?
No.
Did any other witness talk to you about their testimony, such as Laineen or your mother, before they testified?
No.
I have to open it up to the lawyers to see if they have any questions for you.
Okay.
When you said that's how you were done testifying, did you watch the live feed on YouTube?
No, I was just scrolling through my Facebook.
Okay, so you never looked at YouTube?
When I went outside after I was done testifying, no.
So if you have any further questions, then I will be on the witness.
Okay. Do you have any questions, sir? All right, you go ahead and step outside. Who's the other witness you can call?
I'm going to be calling on direct.
All right, bring Mr. President. Can someone please give us your direction?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe he's just trying to get our witness.
We're going on 4-5 plus minutes. Here we go. Is this Mr. Perez?
It is, yes.
She's at podium. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony must be accepted?
I do.
State your question.
Can you please state your name for the record?
Andres Perez.
And Mr. Perez, where do you work?
I work for the State Attorney's Office here in Miami.
How long have you worked there?
Well, in total, 3 years, give or take.
Now, a few moments ago, can you describe to the court what you saw?
Right, so I was heading over to the courtroom across the hallway, courtroom 2-1, for a hearing that was scheduled for 1 p.m. I would say approximately a couple minutes before that, as I was walking down the hallway, I recognized a witness who had previously testified in this trial. She is a female. She was wearing a shirt that has like squares, patterns on it. In my knowledge, it was the witness before the one you just had.
How do you know
I've been watching somewhat from my office. I have the YouTube feed on from Long Crime Productions. So I recognized that the witness was watching the live feed also of the other witness that was testifying. And I knew that it was that because I recognized this courtroom. I'm familiar with YouTube. I have an iPhone. She was watching it on an iPhone. So pretty sure what I saw.
Were there any males present as well?
There was. So she was sort of lounging with her leg up on the bench right outside and laying on a male.
Now, to be clear, you're an attorney, right?
Yes,
And you have a bar card,
I do.
and you have to take an oath that is different than other people when they come to testify.
Correct. I am an officer of the court.
And if you were to lie in court, there would be significant consequences even outside of the court.
Oh, yeah.
I have no further questions.
Is there any questions for this Mr. Perez?
How far were you away from this woman?
So she was literally sitting on the bench right outside of the courtroom I was going into, so I walked right past her, arm's length.
Okay, did you stick your head in to look at her phone?
No, but I was very familiar with what she was looking at because I had seen it also, which was this courtroom, the proceedings.
Did you hear anything?
No.
And what was she wearing?
She was wearing, I don't mean to be rude, because she's a heavier set woman. She had like I'm not good with women's clothing, I don't know, but the sort of the design was like squares that are like gold.
Fendi logo. All right.
I don't know what that is, sorry.
Okay. So was she sitting down? Was she leaning back? Which way was she facing?
So she was, if I'm walking towards you, she was lounging on the bench with her back towards me so that her phone was facing me as I walked past her.
She was lounging facing this direction?
Away from me, so that as I walked past her, I could see her phone because her phone was facing me as I walked past.
Could you hear anything?
No, I couldn't hear.
All right. And you saw, what exactly did you saw on her phone?
I saw she was on YouTube, which I'm familiar with because I have YouTube on my phone. I know she was on a live stream because she had the comment section open and it was scrolling pretty fast, consistent with the live stream, with the live chat. And I recognized that the image on the video was this courtroom.
So was she the only person watching that stream?
You know, I don't know if she was the only one watching it. I don't know if the male that she was lounging on was also kind of looking, but he didn't seem to be paying too much attention to it.
The male that she was lounging with, was he an adult?
Yes.
Other than this woman and this male, was anybody else watching that stream?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. And you said this was, when was this?
Right before my hearing, as I walked in, my hearing was scheduled for 1, so I was probably maybe a couple of minutes before 1. I don't know the exact time.
I don't know the exact time. Okay, that's all I have.
Before you go, was the volume on the live stream?
wasn't audible, and I can't tell you if she was wearing headphones because I didn't pay that close either.
From where you're standing, you didn't hear anything?
No, I didn't.
No sounds from the live feed?
I did not hear anything.
Anyone want to follow up based on what I just asked?
No. Okay.
You can step outside. Thank you. Say you can go first.
Sure. So I think that it is very obvious that Crystal Burrito lied to the court.
So you want me to still remove her testimony from this jury's consideration?
I really don't know the other remedy here, because if Ms. Burrito is in question on the stand about whether or not she was watching things, posting things, etc., I'm going to be calling Mr. Perez as a witness to say, what, that he saw her watching a YouTube feed afterwards. We know already that she was logging into Zoom. That is on the record from a few days prior. We know that she was actively posting about this case during the middle of the trial. 5 days ago, I think it is highly unlikely that she did not click any of the links, that she did not post, or excuse me, did not do this, watch any of those videos, do any of those things, when we know for a fact that she just lied to the court. We know that for a fact. We had an attorney come in, under oath, said, I watched this happen, and he was very forthcoming in the things that he did and did not see. Ms. Burrito, on the other hand, lied to this court.
Okay, so what do you want to do? Throw out all her testimony? That cannot be the remedy. The issue right now is whether or not, it's twofold, whether or not there's been a violation of the rule of sequestration, number one. What the remedy is, if you all believe there has been a violation, you can call whatever witnesses you want and impeach them. Or bring out that they are conforming their testimony with outside influence.
Then I'm going to ask the court.
Or you want me to do a contempt hearing for her lying to the court, supposedly.
Yes.
What do I do with her testimony? What remedy do you want?
Judge, I'm looking at case law about what the actual remedy is, because quite frankly, I have never had such blatant violations.
One is very obvious. Ms. Barreto, you know that you're not supposed to be looking at other outside information, speaking to other witnesses so that you can testify independently. Did you do that? Maybe she says yes, maybe she says no.
She said no, and she lied.
Then you can maybe be able to cross-examine her on her posting. All right, that's a suggestion. Mr. Tomas.
So, Judge, I don't think it's been established that she was able to hear anything that happened. Perhaps she could have read some of these comments. I don't think these comments would inform her on anything that she's not supposed to hear. So I'm not sure that she violated the rule of sequestration based on.
Do you agree with me that my approach is twofold, whether or not there's been a violation of the rule of sequestration, number one, or whether or not she's lied to the court?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So with regards to the rule of sequestration, your suggestion on my remedy to the state, they can bring her back and/or Mr. Perez to somehow suggest or argue to the jury that her testimony was not as truthful because she may have been looking at live feed after she testified, and/or had been posting about this story, the trial 5 days before she testified. That would be the 2 lines of inquiry.
Judge, that's fine, I guess, and I would suggest that we do a full contempt hearing for her lying to the court. But there's an additional issue of witnesses who have not yet testified and not yet been deposed being involved in this. I went, again, as an officer of the court, I stepped outside to use the restroom, and I saw Ms. Perez being handed her deposition transcript by Ms. Gonzalez, while PJ was sitting right next to her.
And what is wrong or illegal about that? If we know witnesses are allowed to have a copy of the deposition, don't most witnesses reserve their right to read?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so what is wrong with her having a copy of the deposition?
That is not the issue. The issue is, PJ hasn't given a deposition. As far as I'm concerned, he's not a witness in this case. Right? We can revisit it if and when that time comes. But at this point in time, he is not a witness in this case as far as I'm concerned. We are supposed to be taking his deposition. When? I don't know.
But him having access to that deposition, having access to YouTube, having his family members violate the rules of sequestration, which I think that we well established that they have.
How do we know he's reading the deposition? How do we know he's looking at the YouTube live feed with Crystal? How do we know they're talking to him about this case?
We know that Ms. Link herself was talking to him about his testimony. She said that 2 weeks ago.
How do I know right now what's before the court? Because I've been at this for about an hour now on possible violation of sequestration. How do I know without jumping, speculating that PJ, they've been talking to him about his testimony or their testimony, thereby unduly influencing him?
Judge, circumstantial evidence is still evidence, number one. And number two, again, Ms. Link has actively told this court that she was talking to the witness about his testimony. That's how.
There's no evidence at this time that there's been any violation of the rule of sequestration. If you want to somehow bring back Ms. Moreno to ask her if she's been posting and or observing coverage of this trial because she's posted it on Facebook, to somehow make an argument to the jury that she is changing or conforming her testimony based on outside influence, you're more than welcome to do that. I'll deal with, I'm ruling right now, I'm done, we're done. We went back and forth, I am ruling right now. I am ruling right now.
That's Perez, Judge.
That's it, nothing else.
We have discussed the remedy for Ms. Perez.
Well, I'm not there yet, am I? I don't see any violation of the rule of sequestration unless you all want to bring her in regarding the Facebook post and or what she saw. Ms. Perez, she's allowed to have the deposition transcripts. There's no evidence or influence. There's nothing before me that suggests that she was trying to change her testimony before she comes back on the witness stand. Okay. If you all want to question her about whether or not Mr. Tomas talked to her about her testimony prior to, I think that's allowed, Mr. Tomas.
He's absolutely allowed to.
Then I don't know what your remedy, what you all want me to do a remedy for Ms. Perez.
The jury instructions specifically can say that a witness speaking to a lawyer should not be given anything. Because it is entirely proper.
So what do you want me to make of her having a copy of her deposition?
Judge, it's not just her having a deposition. It's not. And the court is focusing on her having a deposition. I give every single one of my witnesses before they testify a
So
copy
what's
of
your
their
remedy? We brought her in here, we questioned her, you all cross-examined her.
And
What did she do wrong and how do you want me to fix it?
she lied to the court.
About what?
If you want to swear me in, feel free, because I can testify.
So you want me to have a contempt hearing with Ms. Perez?
I think so. And then you need to have one for Crystal Brady, because again, she lied to the court.
Okay, we'll take that up later on. I need to get this case concluded.
Judge, we can't conclude a trial, a proper and fair and impartial trial, with witnesses actively violating the rules.
I suggested a remedy for Crystal. You're not giving me a remedy for Ms. Perez, because there's nothing before the court right now. That suggestion has violated the rules of sequestration. We just went on an hour-long evidentiary escapade. And I'm looking at the state and I'm saying, what's your remedy? You all are taking me up on Barreto. There's nothing for me to remedy on Perez. There's nothing for me to remedy Perez. Maybe I have a contempt hearing with her at the end of the trial.
Judge, can the state present a remedy for Perez, please?
What's your remedy for Perez?
Judge, given the fact that she was giving her deposition in the middle of live testimony, which is not allowed, the state should be allowed to, on cross-examination, ask this witness, when you stepped outside on a break, were you given a copy of your deposition? Who gave you a copy of your deposition? Your family members. Did you review that deposition? Do you know that you were live in testimony
Sure,
on trial?
ask away. I don't know what's going to come out of her mouth. Ask away. Let's take a 10-minute break. You all probably need a comfort break and sleep needs a comfort break. Also, I'm not letting anybody else into Zoom. If any lawyer wants to come and watch, whoever's in is in, whoever wants to come and watch, my doors of the courtroom have been open since the beginning. Thank you.
All right.
Ms. Josephina Perez and continue with her testimony. Do you all want to follow up? Any other witness? Let me know.
Mr. Perez does want to make one correction to his testimony.
the pleadings are closed, I've already ruled, put it in writing, file a motion to reconsider.
No, Judge, that's not what it is. He wants to make a correction because I will be calling him in rebuttal. He wants to, as an officer of the court, if he got something wrong, he would like to let the court know the time that he said his hearing was incorrect.
Did you let Mr. Tomas know?
He told me that 15 minutes ago.
Inform Mr. Tomas in front of us.
Would you like me to tell him first in open court?
You can say it as loud as you want, and I can hear it.
Okay. So during my testimony, I stated that my hearing was at 1 p.m. It was actually at 2 p.m. And the things that I testified to were shortly before 2 p.m. That's it.
All right, thank you. So let's go ahead and see if, Ms. Perez is outside, who's gonna go there first? Jason, right? Jason? He can go there, can you help us with Josephina Perez? He's one of our court reporters.
And Judge, I'm allowed to inquire about what we said was the state's remedy, right?
Yes, but I don't know what's gonna come out of the mouth, remember? We talked about that also.
Understood, Judge.
It's Joseph Perez, right?
Josephina.
Josephina.
Okay, Ms. Perez, you got one of those down. Thank you, Mr. Jimenez.
All right, adjourned.
All right, counsel, thank you for being seated. Ms. Perez is still on the witness stand. The state will continue her testimony.
Yes, Judge. Now, Ms. Perez, when we took a break, you stepped outside, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, couldn't hear you.
Yes, yes.
And when you stepped outside, isn't it true that you were given a copy of your deposition?
Yes.
And you were given a copy of your deposition by your granddaughter,
Right.
the young lady who testified here earlier?
Yes.
And she gave you a copy of that deposition knowing that you were still in the middle of your testimony?
For speculation.
I'm sorry, what's the question?
She gave you a copy of that deposition knowing that you were still in the middle of your testimony?
Sustain, hold on, sustain, re-ask the question, please. If you're asking
Did she know you were testifying still?
I don't think she knows what the rules are for, so she just handed something to me and I put it right next to me.
Ms. Perez, my question was, did she know you were still testifying right now?
Does she know right now?
Did she know you were still testifying?
On the case, right now?
Yes.
I believe so.
So when you stepped outside, did you tell her you were on a break?
I didn't tell, I just told her that we got put out. You didn't give me like any instructions if I was on a break or anything.
Right, so when you told her you got put out is when she
Ma'am,
decided to
I
give you
don't
the
know
deposition?
I don't know any of your rules and regulations.
Ms.
You
Perez,
just said go outside and she handed it to me, that's it.
I understand what you're saying. My question is,
Mhm.
when you told her you got put out, she then proceeds to give you a copy of your deposition.
She just handed me the document and that's it.
So she gave you the document.
Right.
Did she tell you to do anything with the document? Did she tell you to read it?
No, she didn't tell me anything.
And Ms. Perez, you used to be a clerk for Miami-Dade?
Objection, relevance.
What,
So, hold on, sustain. She's gonna ask another question.
So I want to talk about what you didn't see, okay, Ms. Perez?
mhm.
On the night before Pedro was shot, your daughter came to pick you up. Crystal?
Say it again. Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Before Pedro was shot, your daughter Crystal came to pick you up.
It was her husband that was
So
driving.
Crystal never picked you up?
I called her to pick me up.
Okay, so Crystal wasn't in the car?
I don't think so.
So it was just her husband who was in the car?
Yeah, and my granddaughter.
Okay, so Crystal wasn't in the car. So her husband came to pick you up,
Right.
and you left.
Yes.
So you didn't see what happened between Pedro and Daisy after that?
No, I didn't.
You didn't see who Daisy shoot Pedro?
No, I didn't see anything.
No further questions, Judge.
All right, let's see if we can do that.
Ms. Perez, you were asked a while ago about the barbecue that you were gonna have with some family members. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Again, you were here from Texas. Did you have, besides Daisy, did you have other family members who you don't get to see very often because you live in another state?
Right.
And your intention was to move Daisy back to Texas without Pedro finding out, correct?
Right.
All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
You can step down. Thank you.
I'm done. Thank you, ma'am.
Just need to talk, I don't think she's gonna be so quick, we'll just talk to the lawyers, sidebar about scheduling. Tomorrow, sorry that it was a shorter meeting today than we had planned, so we'll still plan on going from 10:30 to 5:30 tomorrow. These are the court's instructions about not talking about the space with anybody else, not looking up the space. You obviously know that the cameras are here and it's being, monitored and covered. So please don't do any research online, for example. If you find out of any violations, court orders, bring it to my attention as well as Roberto. Please ignore anyone that you may have seen. And also, don't listen to any of the lawyers or this link, please ignore them. They're under my strict instructions to ignore you. So, we'll take your notepads and Roberto will collect them up when you do their day. And we will see you all tomorrow. So we can start at 10:30. Thank you. Have a good rest of the day.
All right, you're adjourned.
Research and investigation into anything that he may or may not say.
Let me ask you this, what if he appears tomorrow and he's ready to testify, what do I do? Let's say I go along with you and but he's here tomorrow, what do I do?
He's not a witness, and the court is requiring me to take a deposition at 4 o'clock that I'm ill prepared for.
Well, let's focus on the issue of David Perez. We're talking about PJ, let's just focus on David Perez.
David Perez and PJ go hand in hand. The reason why is because my hands are being tied, I'm being forced to take a deposition that I'm still prepared to take at this point in time, because I've been in trial all day. If David Perez magically shows up tomorrow at 9 a.m., I'm going to be ill prepared to take his deposition because I have not actually prepared to take his deposition. The 4 or 5 depositions that I take, I had to do and sit and do research into what those people were saying. There are reasons I asked the questions I did. I do not know David Perez. What he says, John Smith was also here. I'm going to want to talk to John Smith. This is why depositions do not occur in the middle of a trial. This is why witnesses get excluded. And quite frankly, Your Honor, I'd be hard pressed to see what would happen on the reverse if I magically made witnesses appear that were excluded in the middle of trial.
The rules are different for the state as they are for the defense.
Judge, I can
That's law school 101. Hold on, I waited for you. Please let me respond because you're done with your thoughts. Mr. Perez has been set for deposition prior. Has he not?
3 times.
All right, so you're telling me that you were not prepared those 3 times that you set him for deposition?
That's not what I said. I said I would be ill prepared tomorrow if he magically shows up. And you're right, the rules are very different obligation-wise for defense and state. But the rules for discovery for defendants say they are listing people they intend to call as witnesses. David Perez is not a witness in this case, and if the court is, this would essentially be, at this point in time, trial by ambush, because there's a difference between proffering what someone is going to say versus what they actually say and testify to under penalty for agreeing to that position and that trial. And I don't know what he's actually going to say. I have a general idea of what he's going the proffer is, but I don't actually know what he's going to say. I don't know who else was there. I do not know anything about his conversations with Ms. Lynn via jail call or in his text messages as well, which is avenues that I'm going to want to explore.
Your objections are for the record. If it shows up tomorrow, we're just taking one step at a time. Isabella, you can stay later on for PJ's deposition. Okay, so you guys can have my courtroom for PJ's deposition. The state will accommodate us meaning all the parties, Mr. Glass, regarding recording it on Zoom, okay? So, Ms. Lynn cannot be present for that deposition. So, I'm sure corrections will give you a few minutes to work. And then once we're done speaking to her, you all will bring in, please remind, well, I reminded Ms. Flores as well as Ms. Perez, and obviously he reminded the county, so please have the matters on hand, in the event that I need to have any more interactions with them or report hearings, all right? Thank you all, I'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good one, Chris.
All rise. Yes, sir.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
You too, Rich.
He's asking who's asking. They have a cutoff of 14 on
Yeah, so you guys aren't.
Well, we are, it's just you won't get your transcripts.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I understand.
I need them. We're probably going to trial. That's not your fault.
Yeah.